No. I'm gonna. Great. Well, anyway. All right. Mm, 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 mm. Just a second, I'll be right with you. All right. Hey guys, my name is Brian Brown. I got you here, and welcome back, folks, on our top final Fantasy Mystic Quest. And in our last episode, well, we pretty much took down the dude that was plaguing the forest. But anyway, we left Kelly here. So you might want to take advantage of this while you can, Kelly's house. I'm thinking that's how you say it, but that's spelled differently. Take care. Well, you got it. So let's see what you say. Take care. Is that all you people have to say is take care? What if I don't want to take care? What if I just want to take care? I don't want to take care. I want to take care. Well, that may not make any sense to you, but it does make sense to me. So you might want to completely forget that. Or pretend like you didn't hear me say that, because I don't know how to explain it to you. It's just me being silly, basically. Yeah. So, we're not going to worry about the boom. We're not going to worry about anything, but we are going to heal up. So we're going to take advantage of it while we can, because we are actually low on funds. Not that it makes much difference, because in this town, there is not a place you can, spend the night except here. No such place exists. More on that later. And just when you think you know it all, you don't know everything. They intentionally left that out. They have also intentionally left clues that you would not know if you've never played this game before, or as how many times it takes to discover it. That it is a clue, and yet so far it would be useless now versus later. That's the way a lot of the games have been made. So let's go up here. Now our first stop, okay. Let's look at that again. Level Forest, which means you can actually level up if you want to. There's no point at this point. Battle Round Tempt Him. There's supposed to be something you can do. This is a bit of a spoiler because it's optional. I don't want to spoil anything. There's not going to be anything that does anything to do with the game. It doesn't really matter when you do this, but it is a cheat. But it's an in-game cheat. They're built like when you can actually do it with your controller. I do know that you actually have to defeat all of the monsters in each. You don't have to defeat all the battlefields to do it, but I know that you have to defeat the one in the particular one. And what you want to do, I don't know if it works on this one since I haven't tried it yet. I forget the commands, but I'll show it off in a little bit on another episode. But I know it has to do with the L and R button. So we'll learn more about that later. But for now, we are going to. Oh, see that right there? And if you can't tell, like I tried to say before, gray arrows is we can't go any further. Well, we can go down. I mean, it's crazy to think that when you get to level forest, that the arrows are like grayed out because they won't let you go any further because you actually have to go in there before you can continue on. Some games have you actually doing that where you have to backtrack before you can continue on the story. So what we're going to do here is go right straight into Sand Temple. Speaking of battlefields, I'll go over that a little bit later. Now I'm turning this up a little bit real quick because we got a quick sound because it's a great music track I like. It's one of my favorites. What? Yeah! Dun, dun, dun. Listen to that awesome soundtrack. All right, so we're gonna stop listening to it, but I mean, it isn't that kind of pump you up. It's kind of like pump you up music right there, like you feel motivated. I mean, not when you're placidly tired, but looking for some cure, kid. First of all, my name is whatever because I'm not gonna say his name because officially there is a canon name, but there's actually they don't say this, but there's actually two of them. One's demo play and another one because it has to do with something. It has nothing to do with this. Anyway, and I'm looking for Elixir, or the Elixir, actually, I should say there. But anyway, I forget the canon name, but who says you have to go by that? I mean, here's the thing. I'm going to spoil this for you right now, and it's not going to spoil the game itself, but I'm going to tell you right now, the canon name absolutely means nothing because nobody ultimately calls you by that name. And in fact, no name that you've ever put in this game, they don't call you by that. In fact, even in another game, or in most games that they have you program the name in, they don't call you by that. However, there are ones like Final Fantasy VII. They do call you by that anyway, and canonically wise, so it does make a difference there. Even though you could still change the name, but ultimately, if they were to do a drawback on it somehow or another by a reference, much like another game, except the difference is that was a last name, but that's a bit of a clue for another time. But anyway, so that's about it. We'll get to be able to rejoin this song again in a little bit. Also use them per se 9,000 GP. Well, whoa, that's way too much. I forgot the voice anyway. So, but the thing is, even if you could cheat and put in maximum GP or built up, even if you took the time to build up enough, GP, it would still be like this. Watch this. Listen, kid, the stuff is precious, see? Right? Allowance is only 2 GP a month. See, this is what they always say. So, even if you had the right amount, it wouldn't let you do it because it's the way the game is played. Which is fine. It's okay. And let's do it this way. I'm going to the Bone Dungeon to find treasure. So you come with me and help me. If I get the treasure, you get the elixir. So in other words, a free trade. It's not free because you still have to do something for it, but hey, it's still free. Free trade. Do I have any choice? When do we go? Well, I look like he's going to hit me or something. I think it was more of a reference of trying to tap you on the back, like, whatever. Anyway, there's a battlefield nearby. I mean, it should be said, there's a battlefield nearby. Why don't you whack a few monsters there and maybe win something, kid? The name's Killard. Okay, so if you want to, I would highly recommend it. Take advantage of it while you can. The music. Not to say we won't get it back again later, but yeah, only about like 2 times. It's the only music that's separate from, besides that and the recruitment thing. So before we do anything, and I mean anything, the one thing you don't want to do is use the Ninja Stars. And before that, what we're going to do, it's kind of like what we had to backtrack and whatnot, we're going to go in here. Now, there's going to be a reason why we want to do this. First, let's go back to, you don't have to do this exactly in this order, but it would help out things just a little bit more better. And I only suggest that you use it wisely. sparingly these ninja stars because you want them to stay at maximum no matter what. There's a reason for that. You don't have to do that way, but I highly recommend it because of reasons. Now, these guys are just going to say the same thing, something about resting in a bed and can you save all 4 crystals. I'm not worried about that. However, there is an item we can get down here. Doesn't really matter. There's also another item we can go for, and we got some cure potions there in level forest. It doesn't really matter. There's also a monster that was trapped out because we didn't have access to an axe. Even though we kind of did in a way, but the way that they programmed it is you actually have to get the axe. So, but you don't have to go back in there. Take care. See, that's all she says. And then if you come back in here for some reason or another, some games will have it like if you you actually have to report it, or you can if you want to, and optionally have where it'll tell the person that I got to do something in return, blah blah blah. So you don't have to do this either. But I mean, I didn't even mean to get it, but in a way I did. But anyway, it's part of 100% of the game. So, which I find odd that at the end you can, dude, I'll most likely not be using any of it. So right now, you see that this cloud right there? Let's do that. It's obvious. That's the select button. I did not know that. I'm just kind of using this. Now this right here is all a bunch of clouds. More about that later. But you might be seeing places that we can't get access to, and you might think, well, maybe we can't get to them because they're just there. More on that later. But for right now, what we are doing, we're just looking at the map, generalization. There's a place we won't be going into until, the first time, which is, but there's somewhere else that we cannot see yet. I would have thought it was here, but it's not. Okay. So that is something that, I mean, it will be there, but not now. I'm not trying to spoil it, but I'm giving hints and dropping clues without trying to spoil it. Like trying to tell you specifically what it is. Whatever this going to be, like, in other words, something that will show up, but we're not worried about it right now. I just worried about it enough to see if we can see it right now. So, and here's the thing I want to say right now, is that I hate dirty screens. The thing about it is that half the time, it screws it up and all that. I mean, FRN are we? We're only 13 minutes. Okay. So if we go right here, depending on how far you went, it'll take a little bit to go. Well, there's only so much to load. Bone Dungeon. All right. Bone Dungeon, first floor. Now, here's the thing that's a common thing, and I'm going to spoil it for you, that's not going to spoil the game. I'll be doing that quite a bit, though, just for the record, before I continue on. You will hear music that is mostly repeated in some stages. I like all the music. All of it's pretty good. I'm not saying anything bad against them. I'm just saying that. Now, here's something up here. Okay, you can't go any further. There's something right there. And you might be wondering what that is. It's a chest. You didn't know that when you... Because, I mean, obviously we could have bypassed it and then come back and found it a little bit later. You would have had to have discovered it if you even cared or wanted to go through the game again until you find everything. There is only so much you can find out. And then there's like things that are just completely useless. You can find out now, like if you go through all the map, like, oh, okay, I can go all the way down here. There's no point. There's nothing down there. I don't even know. I mean, it was probably a way there in the programming that it might have led to something. Now this, the door shield slot. Well, here it goes. Watch this. Aren't these something? I'll sell you some cheap. How about 50 for explosives? Explosives for cheap, 30 GP. Now, you can get to the point that it says, it won't accept it, or because you can get half off. But I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, Learn to use BOMB. So pretty much now what we want to do at this point is we don't want to go any further. Well, we do, but not right now. We could do that, and it won't affect the game any, it'll just affect the time it takes to get to this thing. And I'm going to make it a separate video to actually go through it, because it's going to take a little bit, unlike some places, a little bit later on. So what we're going to do is, boom. I'm sorry about the sirens, but, you know, not much I can do. Dang. Alright already. So, found steel shield. Now, what that is something you don't have to pick up. But there are weapons you're going to have to be forced to pick up because they make you have them. Like the axe. There will be certain items, weapons, and armor that will be made to pick up because it's through the storyline. You're not even picking it up in a chest. You're just handed to you. And there are some items, even though they're optional, it's better to go ahead and get them. Because otherwise, you won't know where to look. And I'll go over that later. So anyway, we have here is a steel shield. It's got a defense of 5. So we have a total of 11. I should have looked at that before we got that, but it doesn't really matter. Dark robe, moon helm, which has got the resistance of flame. We don't have that. I'll just show off in a bonus video what to do. Now that we have that, it increases. This thing oddly increases your attack power. It doesn't do it significantly enough, but you know, enough to make a difference sometimes. Randomly, when it comes to armor. Well, yeah, I know that doesn't make any sense, but you know. And we are like that private part. Look at our attack, our defense, our speed, and our magic. Behold that. Attack is 63, 20, defense is 21, speed is 17, and magic is 12. Accuracy is 76, evasion is 10. Now, most of that's going to stay the same, but there's another thing. The axe is 24. Defense 21, speed 17, magic 12. Yeah, so, you know. And our sword is 20. It can increase as you go up. But pretty much, yeah, nothing's going up. But eventually, we might get something that will improve it. I'm not gonna sit there and confirm nor deny that. In the meantime, I remember back in the day when this was difficult to get out of here. So I took out all the enemies, and then I thought, well, you had to do all the enemies. That's what it was said you had to do in order to go back through. You don't have to do that. Now, what you're going to want to do is just simply follow what I did on the screen there. I had the B button going on, and you had to use the D-pad in conjunction in a certain way. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention, but I think it's like the right part of it and down. But, you know, what you saw on screen is what you want to do. Just do that. So, let's see here. How long have we been recording? 1920. Okay, so what we want to do here... So we definitely want to switch weapons because we don't want to use up those. We're going to set the start. So what we have now is our first battle. Strike first. Poison Toad, Basilisk. Doesn't even have to repeat that twice there, but you know, that's what you have to typically worry about. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and have him attack anyway. But I'm going to do this sparingly. You know, look at that. Sometimes it's better to have your partner attack, but do it manually. Don't have them attack audibly, because that just, they wind up wasting up items and stuff. Plus, you want to go ahead and get rid of that as fast as you can, because they will do something to you, and you don't want to do that right now. So I'm not going to use that, and there you go. So even though we just did 90, if Kelly was still with us, you know how much attack power would it have? More than that. But even so, it's still just as strong and as powerful, but will never be as powerful as that. Anyway, so what you want to do now, because we don't have much of a choice anyway, even though it's kind of saving us on money, but it won't save us on time. So unlike in real life, we don't have to worry about that. But, you know, gonna live in your mom's basement or whatever you want to call it. That probably sounds like I'm picking on somebody, but in other words, you know, you're living with your folks for so many long time to save on money, and they, you know, you're just kind of doing it for free. Except that this is not your parents, so there is that. And I am going to save it, and I will be doing a bonus episode some other time. So this will be the third episode for Sunday that I've been wanting to do, but haven't been able to. What is this? I need to get that off there. I hate that it bugs me. Anyway, so let's see if I can do this correctly. Pushing the start button. Gotta get used to these controls. It's just different than controller. Anyway, hopefully I'll have the controller before I continue this on. Because that's what I want to focus on next month. Anyway, in other words, I mean before I complete this game at all. Anyway, yeah. I don't know. I will see you all next time on Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Until then, later.